Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you enjoyed that Tom Bukovac inspired intro just there from his video yesterday. It's a work in progress, but what I thought I'd do today is, this time of year you would have seen, and I did one last year, a lot of people, they round up the year, you know, top guitars I played this year, top amps. But what I thought I would do is I've written a list of 8 predictions in the guitar gear world for next year. And hopefully you can get involved in the comments and sort of tell me your predictions as well, because, you know, we're all gear nerds, so let's go for it. So I'll start with some that are like absolutely guaranteed, and then some that are fairly obvious, and then I'll get out to some kind of out there predictions, but nonetheless make sense to me. So the first and most obvious thing we'll see next year is the Stratocaster turns 70 years old, and Fender will do anything to sort of mark an occasion, so we'll definitely see a 70th anniversary Strat from the custom shop USA models, and it will definitely look like this. And the only thing I don't know what they'll do is how far will they go with it. Will we see Squier 70th anniversary Strats, even though we did see anniversary Squier recently, I think their 40th anniversary. So, you know, we'll see 70th anniversary custom shops. We'll definitely see some Mexican ones as well, I think, and for sure in the US standard line. So first and most obvious, we will see 70th anniversary Strats, but how far will Fender take it? Because it's a fairly significant anniversary, and obviously hasn't changed a great deal in all those decades. So next thing, which I think is still quite obvious, and one that's kind of close to my heart, if you like, and that's the guys at Origin Effects. We've seen them sort of come to the pedal market, kind of doing their own thing, their own circuits. Lots of really, really great stuff. You know, I'm a massive fan of Origin Effects. I can see 2 of their pedals right now from where I'm sat. But more recently, we've seen them do, their versions of big hit pedals, if you like. We saw their version of a Tube Screamer, their version of a Klon. So I think in 2024 we'll definitely see their version of a Nobles. And I'm sort of in 2 camps on this, because the one half of me is like, same as all you probably, do we really need more Klons, more Blues Breakers, more Tube Screamers? But at the same time, certain manufacturers, you know what you're getting from them, and I would like to see what they would do as their version of a Nobles, and I think that makes sense in that Halcyon lineup next. So let's get into some more sort of out there kind of predictions, but again, that makes sense to me. So I think that much like this year we saw the Mike McCready Mexico Stratocaster, which was, it's in that sort of punchy price point that Mexico guitars are in nowadays, and so are Epiphone apparently. And I think that we'll see a John Frusciante signature guitar, because it's not that far away from the Mike McCready, and there has been sort of decent evidence, and I'll forward you over to Dave Simpson's video on this that he did recently, because he found all the same evidence that I kind of was thinking about. So I'll drop a link to his video. But again, whether it'll be a Mexican one like the Mike McCready, whether they'll do a custom shop one first, and then maybe the year after we'll see it in the Mexico lineup, I don't know. But for me, again, it's a little bit out there, but I think 2024 we could finally see a John Frusciante signature guitar. And if it is a Mexican one, without a shadow of a doubt, it will be priced the same, if not a tiny bit more because of 2024 inflation. It will be priced the same, that £1,500–1,600 mark, which is a lot of money, but I've no doubt they would sell it at that as well. They wouldn't struggle to sell them, sort of thing. So moving further away from reality, but makes sense in my head, a long time ago, Boss, as in the Boss Katana, they actually had like a super high-end solid state amplifier as well. It's been out a long, long time, and I think it went under the radar of almost everyone, because I was on my 3rd Katana by the time I even knew they made it. I'll put a picture of it up. And I think that with the Tonemaster stuff from Fender, you know, being at such a higher price than Boss, there's kind of like room for a bit of competition there. So I think that either Tonemaster will release something in that price point, but with the Tonemaster Pro that came out with, when it's got like the Deluxe, the Vibrolux, the Super, it's got everything on it. I could see Tonemaster coming out with an amplifier just like their normal Tonemaster amps, but that has every single model in it. So it's kind of like a hybrid between the Tonemaster and the Tonemaster Pro. And where I was going with that whole Boss thing is that Boss could then come out, you know, and hit that high price point again with a newer version of the one they already did before that was in that very high price point. So kind of two predictions in one there, but again, that makes sense to me. There's definitely room for Tonemaster to come in with a combination of the Tonemaster amps and Tonemaster Pro as one amplifier. Think of it as their high-end Katana. And if so, there's room again for Boss to come back into that price point to sort of sum up those two predictions there. So let me know if you think that makes sense. And sticking with amplifiers, we know that Gibson are always looking back to their history, bringing it forward and presenting it as something new and something very expensive for you all to go out and buy. And one thing we haven't seen Gibson do yet with, you know, in that kind of thought is with the amplifiers. And throughout this year, I've seen people going back to those old Gibson amps and bringing them right to the forefront. So to me, it makes quite a bit of sense that Gibson might reissue one or two of them next year. You know, it keeps them relevant. It keeps them on the same thought process of reaching back to their heritage and then selling that to you today. So I think we could see Gibson amps coming back next year. So there's another out there one. Let me know what you think about that. And moving on, last two are going to be more in the software and amp modeling kind of predictions. So Nora DSP, I used to use their plugins a hell of a lot, but I kind of just stick to my amp now unless I'm playing super late at night. But we've just seen this year the Tone King, what was it called? The Royalist Mark III come out, huge hit. Now Nora DSP have formed doing Tone King plugins with the Imperial, which is probably one of their best plugins. So I think that as the neural archetype thing starts running dry, it certainly has for me, and I'm sure a lot of you are a bit sick of archetype this, archetype that. If you've been around it a while, I don't even download the demos anymore. But with that Tone King connection, doing a Royalist plugin for next year, that would be, I think, a really good move for Nora DSP, especially as we're seeing their plugin support come into the Quad Cortex. So you imagine having that available on your Quad Cortex, and it's like a £4,000 amp. So I think we'll see that next year as well. And then the last prediction I'm going to make, and this might be the most out there of them all, and that is a Kemper 2. Because I totally get why everyone thinks they won't do it, even though the Kemper's now, what, 12 years old? But even if it's a rethink of the UI, because that is the only thing in the Kemper that is very dated, I think we could see it. And also, to me, the Tonemaster Pro, which is the most recent in the lineup of, you know, high-end modelers, that feels to me very much like the last of the last generation rather than the first of the next generation, if that makes sense. And Kemper could come out next year with Kemper 2, as this is the next generation, the first of the next 10 years of amp modeling. And I think that would be, it would go down well. I think the market would suck that up, and I can see that coming. I mean, we all know it's coming eventually, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say 2024, we'll see it. So that is a list of the predictions that I've made. And like I said, get involved in the comments with any of that you agree or disagree with, or any of your own that kind of stand out to you that is coming. And that's it for this video. So thanks for watching. I'll be down in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.